If Stranger Things Season 4 has proved to me one thing so far, it's that quality writing in a streaming series is still possible when the people creating it give a shit about what they're doing. What's happening? What is this?
You're next.
Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
First off, I want to send a big shout out to everyone who sent me some kind words or positive thoughts over the past couple of days. You all made these tough times a bit more bearable for me, and I appreciate you more than you will ever know.
You son of a bitch.
That being said, a lot of things were put into perspective for me over the past couple of days. And it's really made me want to focus on something that I enjoy for my first video back. So during my time off, I had a chance to catch up with Stranger Things. This is a show that I've sung many praises for over the past few years. And I was honestly pretty nervous about the 4th season, not just because they had a lot to live up to, but because streaming series writing has been so bad lately. I felt like it was possible that Stranger Things could catch the lazy bug, and we could end up with something like the final season of Game of Thrones.
That's right, it stinks!
Which I'm happy to report that I was 100% wrong in those assumptions. Stranger Things Season 4 so far has re-inspired me, and quite frankly it's another one of those properties that has redeemed my faith in quality storytelling. Just to be clear, this video is only about the first 4 episodes of Season 4, and that's all I've really watched up until this point. I'm just not really one for binge watching anything. To me, you can't really grasp a concept if you're just blowing through it as quickly as possible.
That makes sense.
For me personally, I just like to let stories, specifically good stories, sit with me for a little while. And I've replayed many moments from these 4 episodes in my head after watching it. So that right there tells me it made a significant impression on me. This is why we all enjoy storytelling, specifically in the mediums of TV or film. Because good storytelling is supposed to make you feel something. And Season 4 of Stranger Things so far has done just that for me.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's about time!
Now, I'm not going to go through every plot point, just some major events and characters that stood out to me. First and foremost, I have to talk about Eleven, who has pretty much fought her way into becoming a full-blown pop culture icon at this point. And they could have very easily ruined her character this season with all the woman power bullshit that we typically get. Yes, Queen! But that hasn't happened, at least not yet. In fact, they added to or at least expanded upon a whole aspect to her character that was relatively untapped. There's this opening flashback that shows us the aftermath of her basically murdering everyone in the lab. Everyone from doctors to other kid test subjects, they're all gone. Just balls to the wall crazy shit, so crazy that they had to add a disclaimer before the episode because some people might have gotten upset with some of the images contained within it.
S-O-F capital T! Soft! Huh?
And I guess we kind of understand now why Papa was always a little bit cold towards her. Maybe he wasn't just being a dick the whole time. And we see a little bit more of her dark side in the regular timeline as well. Eleven is basically getting the Carrie treatment, and she's being bullied pretty badly at her new school. And at one point she eventually snaps and just breaks this annoying bitch's face with a roller skate. And then she even gets arrested afterwards. Eleven basically turns into Tupac for an episode or 2.
I don't give a fuck.
Ultimately, she's busted out by Burke from Aliens, and he offers her a chance to be a hero again and restore her powers. Can't help but think that this might backfire on them at some point, considering her unstable nature right now. Max is another standout character of the early episodes of this season. We get a lot of her dealing with the trauma of Billy's death from last season, and she kind of cuts herself off from everyone, even Lucas.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Max gets some great moments in episode 4 after it's revealed that she is the next victim for the newest villain. More on him in a moment. we see her kind of dealing with the prospect that she might die. So she starts to kind of find closure with people by writing them all handwritten letters. We get some quality acting from Max here, especially in the graveyard scene in episode 4. And I'm sure everyone's talked about this in great lengths, but episode 4 is one of the strongest written Stranger Things episodes I think we've had to date.
I'm not running!
And then we come to the new baddie this time around, Vecna, who is basically the Stranger Things version of Freddy Krueger or Pennywise. There is a lot of Wes Craven homages this season. I noticed it a few times just in some of the camera work they did. Plus we do get a Robert Englund cameo that is sure to excite horror fans everywhere. Anyway, Vecna is basically this mythological demon character that kills people in a very grotesque way while they are in a trance of some sorts. It is very reminiscent of Freddy killing people in their dreams. You're almost completely helpless, which makes it that much more frightening.
I'm so scared right now.
Plus, there's a connection between all of the victims in that they are all dealing with something from their past. By the way, through Vecna, they've really embraced the horror elements this season. There's definitely a lot of shocking and intense moments that have me invested. There's also a procedural element to this season, with people trying to figure out who committed these murders. Some even suspecting 11 at one point.
My, how the tables have turned.
Joyce was thrust into this plot to retrieve a very obviously still alive Hopper from Russia, who's basically imprisoned in this camp. And there's some guy named Enzo who may or may not be able to get him out. I'm not gonna lie, this was probably the part of the story that I was least invested in. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just there's other things going on that were much more interesting to me.
I'm not shooting on you.
Still love Hop though as a character, he is a complete badass. There are a lot of new characters this season. Maybe too many. Because it does seem like some of the core group, outside of Nancy who's investigating the Vecna murders, they all feel a bit underutilized, which is surprising to me. There's still time and I'm sure it's all gonna change, but characters like Mike, Dustin, Will, Lucas, and even Steve, after 4 episodes they don't really seem to be getting a lot to do.
Why?
I'm invested in those characters. I've watched those characters grow up and mature. That's what's great about Stranger Things to me, is they've always found a way to form a connection between those characters and the audience. So I hate for them to lose so much screen time to these new characters. Eddie probably is the standout of the new characters and he's a bit of a scene chewer. But if I had the choice, I would have rather spent that time with someone like Steve instead of Eddie.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
I do realize that people are beyond this point in the show probably, and I'm a little late to the party here. But with me, this is how I need to digest it, so just bear with me. Overall, I'm having a blast with Season 4. It simultaneously feels like a return to form after Season 3, while also still feeling fresh as well. I really enjoyed the decision to go all in on the horror. It makes a lot of sense considering all the characters are teenagers now, which are horror movies' favorite victims after all. I was pleasantly surprised with the brutality of these episodes as well. It really feels like they're not getting comfortable and continuing to push the envelope, while also not making it feel just like shock value. Again, it's quality writing from people who clearly care about what they're doing. I'm really interested to see how this all turns out, and definitely look for another video from me on episodes 5, 6, and 7.
Y'all be cool. Right on.